This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
Another disruptive incident at the Lagos airport has raised questions about passenger behavior and the rules that govern airline customers in Nigeria. A viral video on social media shows airline staff roughly carrying out a female passenger whose actions were described by Ibom Air as a serious threat to the safety of crew, passengers, as well as the aircraft. This is the second viral incident in barely a week where an airline passenger has caused a disruption. Joining me to discuss aviation rules and regulations is aviation expert Wale Shadari. Good morning and welcome to the conversation, Mr. Shadari. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So let's start with the most recent. From what we understand, this passenger on Ibom Air has been charged to court on a 5-count charge. Speak to us on, I guess maybe the first question is whether disruptions such as hers can be considered as criminal behavior.
Good morning. Thank you. We woke up yesterday to the news of incident of an unruly passenger on Ibom Air. A lot of things happened yesterday, and the passenger has been rightly charged to court. People have described the incident that happened as, a criminal case. Some have said it's a civil case. But I think the case has been charged to court, and we leave it for the lawyer, for the judge, or the court to decide on the matter. I think it's left to the court. Let's wait for the judgment of the court before we can begin to know whether it's a criminal offense or a civil offense. But
so
not condemn what happened yesterday. Assaulting anybody is a no-no for aviation. Assaulting cabin crew has no place in the aviation industry. It's condemnable.
Right. I mean, even outside of aviation, assault would be frowned upon by the law. If we step back and we consider some of the reporting, it is said that she was asked to turn off her phone. This was at the start of the flight when it was taking off from Uyo, and there was pushback from her. She resisted that instruction. Can you speak to us about that? What do regulations say about whether putting the phone on flight mode or not?
Yes. We all know that aviation regulation or NCA regulation does not permit you to put your phone on before a flight takes off, or when the flight takes off. You are not allowed. It's part of the regulation, international regulation, which Nigeria is a signatory, is a normal standard. I do not know what transpired during the flight, but what we were meant to know is that she was asked to put off her phone, and she refused to do that, which is a violation. If that truly happened, it's a violation of civil aviation regulation. So I think everybody knows about that. Every frequent flyer knows about that. It's a regulation because putting your phone on during flight could interfere with signals or communication between the pilot and the control tower, and can also endanger the flight. So it's a regulation. Before the flight takes off, the crew, the cabin crew, instructs passengers to switch on their phones or put it in flight mode. Is a normal standard. Even international flights, you are asked to switch off your phone.
I mean, Mr. Shadari, if I may, there are two things here. First, I've actually seen where people, especially regular international flyers, right, they say that most of the flights they take internationally will tell them that it's all right to put the phone on flight mode. They don't need to turn it off completely. So there are times when we've seen people resist the instruction to turn the phone off completely. That's one. The second is there is the presumption that people know what the punishment is if you flout this particular instruction. So can you speak to us on first that idea of what the international rules are, but also what is the punishment if you don't turn off the phone?
Oh yes. If you don't turn off your phone, you can be before flight operation. You can be asked to come back to. They can. That passenger can be deported. That passenger can be taken off the aircraft using international rule. It's either you switch off your phone. Some will ask you to switch off the phone, not even to put it on flight mode. Some will even ask you to put it on flight mode. There are two things. You get to a particular flight time where you can't even get signal. You will not receive signal. Maybe if you go on 20,000 feet above the sea level or 35,000 above the sea level, there won't be communication. So, but in most cases, you can't even use your phone even if you put it on because there won't be any signal. But shortly before takeoff, you are asked to either switch on your phone or put it on flight mode just to safeguard that aircraft. It's international law. If you refuse to do that before takeoff, the flight crew can decide to take you off the aircraft or penalize you for flouting that rule. And the penalty is not usually high, but they can also decide to escalate it and be over to the security or prosecute you for flouting civil aviation rule. Is the normal standard anyway.
One of the things that's been debated since this incident was whether or not it should have been the airline staff to essentially force her off the aircraft, or whether it should have been aviation security since the aircraft had already landed and was within the airport. Can you speak to us on who has, I don't know whether it's jurisdiction to say now?
Looking at the video that went viral, I think the airline had no right to even stop that in the first place. They would have called the security, aviation security personnel to take her off the aircraft. It's not their duty to forcefully remove her from that aircraft. So the lady can also sue them for, infringing on her rights. So I expected that immediately the incident happened, we would have called security like we've done all over the world, and the security people to come and remove us from the aircraft. Not really starting also to step up in moving an unruly or environment passenger. Aviation has its own rule. Aviation has its own laid down procedure on what people should do and what people should not do. I think what happened yesterday and the manner she was removed, it shouldn't even happen in the first place. And it is literally the basement of human rights. We don't, pick someone, especially a woman, and, allow her body parts to be exposed in that manner. It wasn't good for the camera. It wasn't good for the eyes. So I believe, and the minister quickly responded to that and said, no, all the people who engage in that shameful act will be punished, will be fished out and sanctioned. It's a no. We shouldn't, strip of our dignity.
Right.
We shouldn't behave like animals. We shouldn't behave like people who have no respect for rules. Aviation has its own statutes. Aviation has its own way of, going about things. It's not for the airline staff to forcefully remove that. We should have got security people. We have security people at the airport. We should okay, military and clean.
Right. And Mr. Shadari, just finally and quickly, there have been comparisons between this case and the case we saw earlier just last week, which was the matter of the Fuji Star Kwam 1 who had stood in front of the plane and more or less tried to prevent it from taking off. And so far, we've had the NCAA come out to say that, look, the difference between the two incidents was that in the case of this lady identified as Ms. Emanson, that the airline charged her immediately, as opposed to in the case of the Fuji Star, ValueJet had decided not to charge him. Is that, if you like, an acceptable explanation? In that case also...
No.
Yes, please go ahead.
That explanation does not hold water. I remember that the NCA immediately happened. We wrote to the Inspector General of Police and the General of the Federation to prosecute the Fuji Star. We should not have two different ways for two different sets of people. It doesn't speak well of us as a people. What the Fuji Star did was even more reprehensible than what this lady did. I'm not supporting the lady. What the lady did is really condemnable. But at the same time, we shouldn't give one a slap on the wrist and quickly allow the system to work. The system became very, very quick and very, very swift. This incident happened on Sunday, and the lady was, she was picked up on Sunday and arranged on Monday and remanded in prison. Yes, the system worked effectively for a nobody, but the system was very, very slow for somebody who we call for celebrity. We shouldn't be doing this. I think the police should have prosecuted the Fuji Star the way they quickly prosecuted the lady. And I will not blame the NCA. NCA has done its job by suspending the pilot's licenses and even placing the Fuji Star on no flight list for 6 months for a start. So I believe that we should have used the same measure that applied to this lady for the Fuji musician. So we need to look at our processes, we need to look at our laws, and we need to make people have confidence in the system. A situation where the Fuji Star is still roaming the street, enjoying himself, while somebody who engaged in assault is imagined in territory. So I do not see a balance in all of this. We should begin to be a serious people. We should begin to act in a way that will be taken seriously.
Mr. Shadari, thank you so much for joining me on this conversation and for sharing your thoughts. I appreciate your time. Wale Shadari is an aviation expert joining me this morning to discuss the aviation rules and regulations that govern customer or passenger behavior here in Nigeria. The lady in question, Comfort Imanson, has been placed on a no-fly list by the Airline Operators of Nigeria, which is the union or the association for airline operators in the country. Ibom Air itself has also imposed what they described as a travel restriction on her, which is supposed to be a lifetime ban. And also, we have her remanded to Kirikiri Correctional Facility by a magistrate court in Ogba here in Lagos. They said that her remand will hold until the 6th of October when the case is brought before the court for further hearing.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.